Antonio's Sports Center.
Cowboys got some good news as Brandon Cooks came out the IR and is expected to be available when the Cowboys take on the Giants tomorrow, a game you can catch right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito, though, considered a long shot to play due to a forearm injury. Drew Lock is in line to get the start, and the Spurs won their 4th straight last night. They look to make it 5 in a row when they take on the Lakers coming up at 7:30.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pleasure wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for joining me, however you may be joining me, whether that is at 94.1 on your FM dial. If you happen to be listening online via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, I appreciate that too. Or you could be watching the show live on YouTube. Go ahead. We stream all of our shows live via YouTube. Just search at SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can comment along with the shows. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I'd like to start the show off by wishing everyone a very, very happy holidays. As Thanksgiving is upon us, we've got a lot to be thankful for in our lives, especially myself. Get to do what I love every day at the radio station. Family is happy and healthy, and just a lot to be thankful for. The friends, family, food in my life, all of that I am extremely grateful for. I don't know how many of us are grateful to be fans of the teams we're fans of currently. Spurs fans kind of got a lot going for them right now. Wemby's playing out of his mind. They've won 4 straight. They've got a chance when they play Phoenix coming up to potentially win the group and play for the Emirates Cup. They are 2 games over 500 now, which incredibly, they didn't win their 10th game. I saw a stat till I want to say it was 40-something games into the season, 46 if I remember correctly, which is just absurd to even think about. As a Texans fan, you're winning the division. You don't feel great with how the offense is performing with CJ in his 2nd year. Currently, there are a lot of calls for Bobby Slowick's head. And then Cowboys fans, they've been going through it lately. But they got to win over the Commanders. They've got an easy part of their schedule coming up, and they could be 6-7 heading into that game against Cincinnati on Monday night. And that could be extremely, extremely interesting when you talk about if the Cowboys continue to get better on the defensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, as Cooper Rush gets closer and closer. And then as that happens, I mean, Jerry said on his radio show earlier this week, hey, Mike McCarthy, not off the table that we bring him back. Well, earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, A.J. Hoffman was discussing Jerry's comments about potentially bringing Mike McCarthy back as they head into this Thanksgiving game against the obviously tanking Giants.
The news about Tommy Cutlets. Yeah. Tommy DeVito. Hey, Tommy, you ready for the big game on Sunday? Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be playing or not, man. I don't even know. I'm a little sore. You're sore? What the hell you mean you're sore? Get out there and play. I'm sore. What do you want me to tell you? Maron. They said he's not 100% to play on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys because of a forearm injury. That's what Brian Daboll says, a forearm injury. He was a limited participant in practice yesterday. He said the plan is to play. Yeah, see how I feel on Wednesday. Hopefully wake up feeling a little bit better after I get a little more treatment. And, I can be out there and play.
Dude, it's your forearm.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're for him, man. I got to throw the football. What do you know about it?
Suck it up, man.
If he's healthy enough to play, he'll start. Backup Drew Lock has been taking some practice snaps just in case.
Yeah.
I think Drew Lock's better than Tommy DeVito, but I don't know. Brian Dayball said he threw it pretty okay at walkthroughs. He said, I wouldn't say it's a timing thing or a lot of depth to it or velocity to it, but he was throwing it in a walkthrough. He's going to test it out here Tuesday in practice in another walkthrough, so I'm hopeful, but he's not going to be 100%. This morning, he said, this morning, like today, he was out there with his sleeve, and I'm like, you good? That's what the coach asked. And he said, yeah, I'll be good. I'm a little sore. But he says, I think if it's a regular week, he's playing. Tuesday's usually when things settle in your body. When you get hit on Sundays, usually Monday's a little sore. Tuesday's usually the worst day. So having an extra whatever it is, 4 or 5 days after that usually helps. But obviously this week it's very different. So that's why I'm looking forward to Wednesday. He was 21 of 31 for 189 yards in the game against Tampa. He stunk, and he got lit up about 20 times. I'm guessing Daniel Jones was watching that game going, glad that ain't me, Bubba. He's sitting there counting his money like, oh, sucks for you, bro. Sucks for you. Yeah, I don't think that Locke is worse than Tommy DeVito, but they say if he's good, he's the guy. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that from a handicapping standpoint. I can't imagine that Drew Lock is a downgrade. The Dallas Cowboys, though, obviously, I mean, we'd kind of given up on the idea that Mike McCarthy would be the coach next year. I think everyone had. But Jerry Jones was asked on The Fan about after the big win, everybody's feeling good. And he was asked about if it's possible that Jerry Jones, if it's crazy to think that Jerry Jones would want to extend Mike McCarthy.
Well, I don't think that's crazy at all. That's not crazy. And listen, Mike McCarthy is an outstanding coach. I was listening to the game last night, watching it, and Aikman was talking about it, and he's reiterated that several times publicly. This Super Bowl winning coach, and Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas. So bottom line is that in no place in my body language or anything else have you seen indications about what we're going to be doing relative to this staff at the end of this year. And we shouldn't. We got a lot of football left.
Then they asked, Mike McCarthy was asked about Jerry's comments. Like, Coach, are you surprised to hear that out of Jerry?
Why are you laughing? Crazy. I mean,
this was us that we're still talking about this, and here we are in late November, about your future and that kind of thing.
well, I mean, I really haven't talked about it all year, so I mean, definitely not going to start on a short week in an important division game. But I'm not going to throw away positive vibes either. So I'll keep them coming, but that's all good. But no, yeah, that's not something I'm really focused on.
Would you be upset, Vic, as a Cowboys fan? I ask all Cowboy fans, would you be upset if Mike McCarthy was back next year as the head coach?
It doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters either.
It really doesn't matter.
And quite frankly, I like Mike McCarthy. I don't think he's the problem.
He's not.
And so you're going to fire a guy who is probably a better football coach than whoever you would be bringing in. There's a handful of guys you could upgrade with.
Yeah.
But are you going to? Is Bill Belichick going to come to the Cowboys?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
How did Belichick do when Brady left?
Not great. Not great.
Okay, so because of the players.
But more importantly, Bill Belichick his entire time in New England got to pick his own players. He was the GM.
Right.
He won't get to pick his own play. He's not the GM in Dallas.
That's the problem.
And I don't know if he wants to deal with that.
Yeah. That's the problem with Dallas.
Yeah, if you throw out the head coach and you replace him with someone who's
a yes man
or who's less of a coach, how's that improve you?
Yeah.
This isn't a coaching issue. This is a player's issue, and I don't think it should be. It would shock me at this point if they did re-sign McCarthy, but I don't think it would be a bad move. I wouldn't give him grief. I wouldn't be one of these, and I'm sure there are people who are like, how could we possibly keep this guy around?
Yeah.
Dude, Mike McCarthy's a way better coach than Jason Garrett, and they kept Jason Garrett around forever.
Yeah.
Look, I disagree with it's a player issue. I think it's an organizational issue with the Cowboys, but they're right. And I don't think it'd be another 5-year deal. But I don't think Jerry is ruling out the idea because he's done it with Jason Garrett before. He's done it to where, bring a coach back, let things continue on and see where they are after that. And I would not be shocked in the slightest if Mike McCarthy came back. But mainly because who are you replacing him with? Because I don't see him getting the hot coordinator like a Ben Johnson. I don't see if he brought in anyone, it'd be someone like Kellen Moore, who's knows how to work with Jerry and how it works within the star. I don't see it being a Bill Belichick type. And honestly, if I'm Mike Vrabel, I don't know if I want to go to a place that I feel has that many distractions from a guy who really feels, coming from that Bill Belichick style, being coached by Bill Belichick when he was with the Patriots and also Andy Reid, about outside noise with all the outside noise that the Dallas Cowboys give. I think the coaching pool is narrow by those that actually want to coach the Cowboys because of all the external noise that they can't control that comes with being the head coach and having your owner and general manager saying things all week long, multiple times a week. And then also just Jerry. I think he wants the control that a lot of people gave the credit to Jimmy Johnson when they won those early titles. And I think, that's one of the reasons they had a falling out. That's one of the reasons that, Jerry's done it the way he's done it for as long as he's done it, is he wants the credit for what's going on. And until that changes, I don't know if anything else will. So Mike McCarthy may be your best alternative moving forward. Although, personally, like somebody who has a little bit more commitment to the run. Timmy Pratt says moving on from Mike should be number one. I don't disagree, but who are you getting and who would want to come? That's the real question. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. But coming up next here on Extra Innings with Pleasure, Stephen Jones, the other Jones, talked with us here on the Blitz a little bit earlier as they brought up Jerry's comments about Mike McCarthy returning, plus the fact that Brandon Cooks will be returning to the lineup when they face the Giants coming up tomorrow afternoon. Stephen Jones on the Blitz earlier today. That's coming up here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Monday on the Morning Huddle, Rob and I are back in the saddle. We're talking about everything that went down over the holiday weekend. How's the football shaking out? How much pie did Vic eat? We'll talk about that and more. Morning Huddle starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws a block, and his teammate scores instead. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
George gets justice. At George Salinas Injury Lawyers, they don't just represent you, they fight for you. When life throws its toughest challenges, George and his team are there to get you the justice you deserve. And here's their promise. You don't pay unless they win your case. With a proven track record of success, they take every case personally. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thank you for joining me. Timmy Pratt says moving on from Mike should be one, an upgrade, two, a more up-to-date offensive mind like Ben Johnson. And my retort to that is, why would Ben Johnson want to be a part of an organization where you have a meddling owner, cap issues, limited roster flexibility due to those cap issues, and every single vacancy in the league? Now, if Ben Johnson happens to love Dak Prescott, that's different. But when you're going to a place where you could either have a different quarterback or potentially choose your own quarterback, that might be more appetizing in terms of looking for a new opening in your first head coaching job. Because especially your first job being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and everything that goes on with what that entails in terms of the media coverage, how out in the open it is, having to deal with things multiple times a week on what your owner says during a radio show. These are just issues that aren't in other organizations that you typically have to deal with on a weekly basis, much less twice a week, 3 times, 4, if you count Steven having to talk to the media, which, speaking of Stephen Jones, he joined the Blitz a little bit earlier today, and we are happy that he did. He is brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, and he was talking about the fact that the Cowboys get a little bit healthy as they return into this game, even though CeeDee Lamb said he was a little bit banged up earlier this week.
Win
at their building. The fact that Dallas has not won a game in that building in the calendar year 2024. Tomorrow is a big game for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk about it here on the Blitz with Cowboys Executive Vice President and COO Stephen Jones joining us on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Stephen, I know it's a day before a game, and good news today with Brandon Cooks. What's the expectation for Brandon in the game tomorrow? Will he be on a pitch count, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're working a guy back in after he's been out for, as long as Brandon has, you ease him back into it. So yeah, there'll be. We'll certainly keep an eye on his reps, and we've got a good group of receivers to go along with CD. Along with that, so we should be able to manage him well tomorrow.
We know, Stephen, speaking of CeeDee Lamb, he said yesterday that he was banged up, and he did probably more banged up than anybody knew, but he was going to get out there and give it an effort. It's what's wrong with CD, and are you concerned with him?
No, I think it's just the wear and tear of, a season. And sometimes you get a little more, you get a few more things going on than normal, but than a normal season. But I think CD's going to, he's a competitor. He's certainly a very, tough guy, one of those tough guys who plays through most things. So, I don't think it's anything right now for us to be concerned about.
Stephen Jones of the Dallas Cowboys joining us here on the Blitz. Cowboys, of course, on Sunday, that wild win at Washington. Then you get the traditional Thanksgiving Day game, the Giants coming in, and the fact that it's just a bizarre stat, Stephen. 0-5 this season. They're at AT&T Stadium. You go back to that playoff game, 0 for 2024. Does this game tomorrow, because of that, just getting a home win, does it put a little bit more onto this one?
I don't think so. Every game's big, and right now, unfortunately we've got ourselves in a spot where, it's getting down to almost must wins to stay in the mix here, and but mathematically we are, and we're going to go out there and play hard, and hopefully the guys will cut and shoot, and we'll play well, and nothing more than we'd love than to get a win for our faithful fans there at AT&T, but. I wouldn't say there's, added pressure. I think it's just we got to go out and compete and execute and do the things it takes to win games. Obviously, starting with protecting the ball and getting the ball are at the top of the list. We did a good job of that against the Commanders, and it certainly paid off for us.
Stephen, when you look at that, the Giants kind of a tough team to figure out these days. You don't know who's going to start at quarterback. It looks like Tommy DeVito didn't make the trip with the Giants. He may not. Does that matter, or is it more about what you guys do?
I think it's more than anything matters to what we do. I mean, we'll obviously line up and go to work, and a lot of times, just like we do with Cooper versus what we might do with Trey Lance, you got some different wrinkles that go with that. But I know Zim will have this defense prepared. We're getting healthier. We've got a great chance to have Diggs out there with Bland and Jordan Lewis for the first time all year, and so that'll be a great thing for our defense. We've been getting healthier, and I think obviously if you've watched our games, the defense is playing at a higher level, and I expect them just to get better.
Well, and again, with the Giants game tomorrow coming off of a win, I guess the front offices, the Giants look like they are in full tank mode. And you guys, the Cowboys, have consistently said, no, we're not all about tanking. And is that, conversations, you can see one team trying to win and another maybe not trying to win because, as you said, mathematically, you look at the upcoming schedule, there's a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in it to win it. And that's been Mike's mentality with how he communicates with our football team, and we're trying to win these football games and play the players that give us the best chance to win. And we'll be in full blown go get a W mode tomorrow, and hopefully we'll play well and get a second win. And obviously, as you mentioned, it would be great to get our first win at home for our fans.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Stephen, Jerry said something the other day that kind of perked everybody's ears, that it wouldn't be crazy to think about Mike McCarthy coming back here. Most Cowboy fans, it seems like, thought maybe he's gone. When do you guys think about that, or is that something you're even thinking about now?
that's not even on our agenda right now. I mean, obviously, we think the world of Mike. He's been our coach here for 5 years. He's got an established record as a successful coach in the NFL, which is why we hired him. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been to several NFC championship games. He's got skins on the wall, and we think the world of Mike. And our thought process, as I just said, is to go win the next football game. That's what we're about right now, and we're getting healthier as a football team. And I think we're starting to execute better as a team, and I think good things are going to happen for us.
So no decision yet, and obviously how this team finishes will factor in a lot in whatever that final decision is.
Yeah, like I said, we're worried about the Giants tomorrow.
Worried about the Giants tomorrow. Now, it is Thanksgiving, and I know you're at work, and you guys work every Thanksgiving, but, Steven, what is, like, your favorite side dish with the traditional Thanksgiving meal?
Oh, I like a little, at the end of the day, my mother and my grandmothers both had stuffing recipes, or we call it dressing recipes, and that's my favorite thing to go with the turkey is the dressings that go with it.
Perfect. Absolutely. Steven, appreciate you jumping on. Good luck tomorrow. Get that win at home.
Appreciate you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Always enjoy you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Steven Jones of the Cowboys here on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com.
If you want to catch that full interview later, replay it for somebody, you can always go to the audio vault at sasportstar.com or our YouTube channel, where it is also there at SA Sportstar on YouTube. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You can throw your comments in there. But as you heard, once again, no comments really on Mike McCarthy's job status between what Jerry said earlier in the week. And that's kind of the thing. Jerry's open to talk about it and saying it's not crazy, and actually it make a lot of sense to bring him back. CeeDee Lamb was asked about Jerry's comments earlier this week as well.
It's definitely had his ups and downs, but as for McCarthy, he's a coach, a player's coach. We all love him, everything that he does for the team, and as far as leading us, just having the confidence and everything that he's willing to put on the line for us, we love every bit of it. So as for Jerry and all those situations, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Don't try to put me in it. But I love Mike, that's for sure.
See, Micah, that's how you answer that question. I love Mike. Mike's my guy. But seriously, I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing to see him return, in my opinion. And the question becomes, who do you replace him with if you move on? And is that an upgrade? I think the main person you have to ask about that, you're with Dak for 5 years. Nearly a fully guaranteed contract. If Dak's going to be your quarterback, Dak, what do you want? We got to make this offense as beneficial for you as we potentially can. Do you like this system? Do you like Mike McCarthy? Do you like working with them? Or do you feel the offense, with the struggles early this season, need to be changed in any way, shape, or form? Would you prefer Kellen Moore to come back? Those are the questions that you need to ask. And I think Dak Prescott, because of your financial commitment to him with this, he's got to be one of the big sounding boards when you're determining what your next head coach will be. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. It's been 13 years, but finally the rivalry returns. And we went to the source to talk about that rivalry. That's right. The voice of the Aggies, who you can hear right here on Saturday afternoon, Andrew Monaco joined the Blitz earlier today. We'll bring that to you coming up next right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Guys, it's that time again. SA Card House has another $50K guaranteed tournament coming up November 27th through December 1st. That's right, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You play your day ones, and you get a chance to play on day two on Sunday at noon. And guys, this is a fantastic tournament. I played in the one last month. I cashed my chunk of that $50K. Didn't quite get 50. I got $400 though. Just a great run tournament and a fantastic place. They're located at 281 and Bitters. The food out of this world. And it's not just these big tournaments that they do. The big tournament's great, but they also do daily tournaments. So any day of the week, you want to play cards, go in 24/7. They've got cash games running as well. This should be your card house because it is the best card house in San Antonio. That's SA Card House. Follow them online on the socials at SA_Card House. Check out the tournament schedule at SACardhouse.com.
Let's face it, winter can be a hard season. It's cold pretty much all the time. Blizzard. You have to shovel. Another blizzard. You slip on ice. But you know what makes winter suck a little less? Getting a free phone. Join Cricket Nation and get a free Samsung Galaxy A15 5G. Ooh, ouch. Welcome to enjoying more. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must open a new line on the $60 unlimited plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
The Gomez Law Firm is proud to be San Antonio's trusted personal injury law firm for the past 50 years. We have Jose with the Gomez Law Firm here with us. Your firm has been fighting for the people of San Antonio since 1973. That's incredible.
There are not a lot of businesses that stick around for even 50 years, let alone personal injury law firms.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then turn to the law firm that will fight for you. Visit joegomezlaw.com.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
It's time to huddle up and listen close. For 2024, we pay tribute to a true game changer in the world of snacks, the unrivaled, the unbeatable, the pork rind. Yes, it's crunch time, and we're not just talking about the last few nail-biting minutes of the game. We're talking about a snack so audaciously crunchy, it puts those pretentious chips and pretzels to shame. So here's to you, Southern Recipe Pork Rinds, for being more than just a crunch. Southern Recipe Pork Rinds. It's crunch time. Find your rind at H-E-B.
San Antonio is Aggie country. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com, and on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like, subscribe, follow. You can comment along with the show, or feel free to call in at 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776, like Biomex did. Biomex, what's going on, man? Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Pledge. You know, I was
happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you too. I'm actually we've got friends in for an Air Force graduation that are going to join us tomorrow. Got a few airmen from the base coming to spend some time with us. Always a great thing. But happy Thanksgiving to you. And we had a little discussion about, you know, quarterback salary versus, you know, if that cripples the teams. And, you know, you made some good points.
Basically, like how can winner teams get to learn that paying a quarterback, and when's that going to get reeled back in, basically?
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever will, because we say it all the time, and it's not hyperbole when we say that the quarterback position is the most important position in all of professional sports. And that's very, very true of a statement. And I understand it is a team game and you need 22 on offense, 22 on defense, and a lot of depth because of attrition. But one thing is, a great quarterback can mask a lot of ills of a team. And think about it. You can get yourself a Baker Mayfield or a Geno Smith or whoever it may be and try and build a great team around it. But do you see any of those teams winning a Super Bowl like that?
Yeah, it's just hard sometimes to roll the dice on the rookie quarterback contracts and hoping they're going to pan out in a couple of years, and without having to pay so much that you might have to forego or forfeit some other great players to round it out.
And I think,
thanks, brother.
I think one of the things we're also missing, because we've been in this era for so long, from Brady to now Mahomes, and the few quarterbacks that have done it, because you have Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger basically dominating the 2000s till, the 2020s. And then you've had Mahomes just take the torch and run with it. And the quarterback play has been so phenomenal that we've watched. We forgot what it was like when there wasn't a singular entity for people to have to fight their way through. You had the Cowboys in the mid-90s, but that was pre-salary cap. And once the salary cap came around, it changed a lot of things. But with the invention of the salary cap, it's always good quarterbacks, minus Nick Foles, obviously. But you look at there's a Manning that's either won a Super Bowl, or a Roethlisberger, or a Brady, or you've got a Rodgers. Those are the guys that have been playing for or winning Super Bowls. Mahomes, you have to have that guy to give yourself a chance, probably 99% of the time.
Yeah, you're right. I just, I feel like, goating that subject. And I just want to say I appreciate all the work that you do on all of the different shows. And it's great that you've had this show here. I love listening in when I get a chance. So thank you, brother. And you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you, man. I appreciate the phone call. You're welcome to call in anytime. Happy holidays to all of y'all that are listening out there. This is a time of being with friends and family and celebrating the things that you have in your life. And it goes from now through the beginning of the year. And a lot of this time, we're all trying to burn time off. I know I'm going to be trying to burn a ton of time off as we get close to the beginning of the year, because in use or losing parlance, I always lose a ton. And so I made a promise to myself I was not going to let that happen this year. And it's a fight I'm going to have to fight, is finding days to take off now here between now and the beginning of the year. But I appreciate all y'all out there that are listening. It's fantastic. And you got to remember, as much as we hate how much the quarterbacks take up of a roster, they are that important to the success of a team. And you either have one or you don't, which is why Jerry Jones paid Dak Prescott, because he knows life without one of those quarterbacks. He went a long way to find Tony Romo, and then he happened into Dak Prescott with Tony Romo. The problem is he never got a guy to happen into behind Dak Prescott the way he did with Tony Romo. And part of that's on Jerry. And now you have to figure out a way to win with Dak Prescott commanding a ton of salary cap space. Can it be done? Absolutely. Can they reconstruct this roster on the fly? I think so. It's going to take some time, but I think the pieces are in place. The smaller pieces, you've got the rush end. You've got those people like Micah Parsons. You're going to end up re-signing him. You have your CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have to find a running back, but those are easier to find than most positions. You've got Tyler Smith. Cooper Beebe seems like a hit right now. You might have to fix the other tackle, but Sim Richards has been really good. Maybe you can kick him out there, and hopefully Tyler Guyton continues to develop. You're going to have to add some linebackers at some point. You're going to have to figure it out, but you've got some really good corners in Bland and Trayvon, and you found this Butler kid and Carson, who just went on IR. They're doing a really good job finding talent. As that talent develops, it's going to get better, and it is cheap, and they're all going to start playing better. The question becomes, who are they going to be playing under moving forward? And that's why I say Dak Prescott is a very important cog in what is the future of the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Is he happy with Mike McCarthy? Does he like the offense and the direction it's heading? Or does he want to go back to a Kellen Moore, or even into the Kyle Shanahan tree. That's going to be a very important discussion. And if I am making a decision on the future, I've already tied my anchor to Dak Prescott for the next at least 4 years because of the guaranteed money that is involved with them. The Giants can move on from Daniel Jones because there wasn't as much money tied into him. Story today. The Browns have said Stefanski and the organization are moving forward with Deshaun Watson next year when he comes back from this Achilles injury. You know why? Because they have to, because he has a 100% fully guaranteed contract. Dax is just I think it's like $8-9 million short of fully guaranteed. You're tied to him the same way the Browns are tied to Deshaun Watson. So get his input for the next head coach, offense, system, the things that are going to be run. That is the most important decision and person tied to a decision that you have to appease moving forward. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, TextMex, Biomex. Appreciate you calling in tonight, my brother Lloyd D. What's going on? Happy Thanksgiving to all of y'all out there. We get ready with the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco, on the renewal of the rivalry. That's right. And this time, it's for the SEC championship game spot. That's coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Monday on the Morning Huddle, Rob and I are back in the saddle. We're talking about everything that went down over the holiday weekend. How's the football shaking out? How much pie did Vic eat? We'll talk about that and more. Morning Huddle starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Guys, it's finally here. Wendy's new salted caramel frosty. It's cold, salted, yet perfectly sweet, delicious, and it's at the top of Santa's Christmas list. What? Santa has a list too, you know. And he's a huge salted caramel frosty fan. Probably why he's so jolly all the time. The iconic frosty with a salted caramel twist? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Salted caramel frosty flavored with other natural flavors.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Jason Minix here from the Blitz for Underdog Fantasy, the place to play if you're a sports fan looking to win money while watching sports. And I love playing the Pick'em game at Underdog Fantasy, where you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats. Think basketball, think football. You can mix, you can match across your other favorite sports and leagues and win money watching sports. And this season, Underdog will be running a special promo or bonus almost every single day, like Profit Boost. Pump up your winnings in just a tap when you apply the boost to eligible entries. Discounts, you'll get adjusted projections on certain player stats to give you a better shot at the win. And they're basically a sure thing with their free picks. A player just has to get higher than 0.5 for that stat pick to win. All new users get a free pick. So download the app, sign up with promo code STAR, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Promo code STAR. Must be 18 or over, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
The Aggies play here. This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Well, that's very ironic. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, right there. A game you can catch right here on Saturday night, starting at 5:30 with the pregame show, is brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Angry Elephant. A rivalry is renewed. 13 years later, Texas and Texas A&M will finally meet at Kyle Field in College Station with a spot in the SEC championship game on the line for the winner. Earlier today, Jason and Joe on the Blitz spoke with the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco, about the renewing of the rivalry.
When the schedule comes out, everybody circles November 30th, and now let's add one more layer. This is the SEC championship semifinal game. The winner gets Georgia. It's amazing how it has just changed throughout the season.
Well, Andrew, you just described the atmosphere, and I know you're on the road quite a bit with the basketball team, but I can only imagine the atmosphere in College Station this week has had to be off the chart.
Joe, to me, I was thinking about this as you say it. Like, we knew kicking off the Elko era against Notre Dame, that was going to be a night game. That College game day was there. That was going to be exciting, and it was. And then remember the question was, well, how's the 12th man going to be when 9th-ranked Missouri comes in? It was an 11 o'clock game, and it was fantastic. And then the blackout for LSU, and that was, to me, the most electric game overall. I've never felt Kyle Field sway as much as that one and as often as that one. Guys, I truly believe Saturday is going to be, I don't know how to describe it, and it's going to be interesting to be in the middle of that when that game starts and then throughout that 60 minutes of football. Again, so highly anticipated, and then with so much on the line, really makes, I think it might be one of the best atmospheres in college football. And I don't want to go overboard in all of this with the hyperbole, but I'm thinking because of the absence and what's at stake, it's really going to be something special.
Andrew Monaco joining us here on the Blitz, the voice of the Aggies, and the Angry Elephant is we're sitting here at the Angry Elephant right now.
That's right.
Andrew, you look at it, I don't know, like the hype for this game, and you think about all the big games since you got that job that you've been a part of. And to this point, maybe that Alabama game with the win, the gazillion overtimes against LSU, and all of those, as big as they were, seem to pale in comparison as far as the anticipation of Texas A&M, put it on steroids for a right to go play in the SEC championship game. What does, I'm going to ask you from the Aggie perspective, what does A&M have to do to make sure it lives up to all the pregame hype?
Whew. Yeah, great question. And you know what? I always revert to this. You've got to play to your identity. The defense has to be better than it was at Auburn and at South Carolina. And what was disappointing to Mike Elko was it was one set of problems at South Carolina. It was another set of problems at Auburn. And yet, despite those two performances, the Aggies had the lead in that game, in both of those games, and they let it get away. You have to be yourself. You can't try to be someone. Look, going into week 12, we know what the strength is for Texas A&M. That's that defensive line. They've got to have an impact. That back end can't have the ball go over the top. If you liked Auburn's wide receivers, Texas's are even better than Auburn's back end. Lines of scrimmage. I know I'm a broken record. That offensive line has to stop Texas's defensive line. Nick Scorton and that defensive line have to take advantage of Texas's offensive line. And now Marcel Reed, not a freshman any longer, right? I thought we saw him grow up a little bit last week. The team did not panic when they were down 21-0 at Auburn. They didn't abandon and become just passing game. They used it all. I hate that it came down to Amari Daniels in that end zone, but I'll be a son of a gun if that wasn't a great call, going Terry Bussey and Wildcat and then the reverse to Mark. Like, that's a great call. You saw Terry Bussey at Wildcat. Look, I don't know if we're going to see Reuben Owens at running back. And if we do, he's not going to be the Reuben Owens that we had seen last year. But this team's going to have to run the ball. They've got to protect Marcel Reed. And I thought they did a good job of that against Auburn. Now, can you make all the throws? Can you make all the right decisions? Because, Jason, I think every single player on that team after Saturday night says, what's the one play that I left out on the field? It's not the Daniels drop. Is it Marcel Reed letting that snap go through his hands and falling for a 7-point loss when you can put the game away there? Is it one of the safeties letting Cam Coleman get behind him? Is it a missed tackle? That's the thing, and that's the focus that Mike talks about. The team that plays best for 60 minutes, and I'm going to add this, hides their flaws better than the other team, comes out on top on Saturday.
You know, Andrew, what I find fascinating about the Aggie football team is they are it's like Jekyll and Hyde. When they're at home, they seem to be a much better football team, and they get out on the road, and we saw it at South Carolina, we saw it at Auburn. What is the difference between that football team, home and away?
Yeah, and Joe, it shouldn't be, because the way they play, defense travels, to use the old cliche, right? That's how it should be. And why I'm disappointed is they went into Florida, and I know it's not the same Florida team that we're seeing throughout, but you can't do anything about the schedule. The Aggies caught a break in that one, but they didn't let that atmosphere intimidate them. They did not let Mississippi State intimidate them, and they kind of struck first. Joe, I think that's the difference. I think the slow starts on the road at South Carolina and Auburn, and that's offensively and defensively. At home, if you remember, they've scored on their first drive, and they would have like 3 or 4 drives where it would be touchdowns or field goals, and that, I think, it gives them a lot of momentum. Now, what they had to do was do it, the focus that Mike Elko talks about. You can't have a lull in the second quarter, and you can't have a lull. But I think it's those fast starts have really helped them, and you've seen that more at home for Texas A&M than you've seen in the last 2 road games. When they had success on the road, they scored first at Florida. They scored first and often. I'm sorry, they didn't at Mississippi State. They gave up the first touchdown, but they answered right back there. Even in Arkansas, they had that response. You didn't see the same type of responses on the road. They seem to respond a little better at home. And they're going to have to, because you can't dig a hole anytime in the SEC. I don't think you want to dig a hole and have to play catch-up against Texas on Saturday.
Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, joining us here on The Blitz. All last week, and Mike Elko even slipped up that one moment where thinking about Texas, I mean Auburn, right? And, were they looking ahead? Were they not? When that game was over and on that flight home, I don't know if A&M realized at the point, because of all the other chaos in the SEC, that the loss to Auburn means nothing when it comes to playing for the SEC championship game. But they are coming into this game following a loss. Does Mike Elko try to use that as some sort of motivation, or do you think there could be a little bit of a hangover effect that they feel like they let one get away at Auburn leading into this game against Texas? What's the mindset?
Yeah, the mindset is it's behind you and you move on. I think I'm going to repeat what he said even after Notre Dame, because he said that after South Carolina. You look in the mirror. It's not a finger-pointing thing. It's a look in the mirror. What did you leave out there that you should not have? I think that's the key. The loss to Auburn, you're exactly right, does not take anything away. It is still in their hands for the SEC title. What gets away is a chance to be they've got to win out to be in the 12-team playoff. That's the killer of that loss to Auburn. But it doesn't kill what's in their hands. It's in their grasp. They get to decide. They didn't get to decide in 2020. They needed help to get into that 14 playoff, and they didn't get it. There was only so much they could do. Now it's in their hands. Is there a hangover? Jason, I would be stunned if it is, because I think they know what's at stake. I love something that Mike said, and he said this to me over the course of the season. He said, as a head coach, I didn't make you choose to play at Texas A&M. I didn't make you choose to play in the SEC. You knew it was going to be hard. You knew what it was going to take. And then I'm going to turn it just a little bit. Isn't this why you go to Texas A&M and Texas and Alabama and Georgia? You want to be in this position. And if you are an Aggie, you wanted to change the last 2 years. Guess what? You have this year. And now here's the last piece of this puzzle to get to the SEC championship for the first time. No Aggie team in the SEC has ever even been in this position. That's what this first-year team has done under Mike Elko.
Well, that's what makes this game so special. But I want to go back to the atmosphere, Andrew, because and I don't think this is anything Steve Sarkisian can do anything about or Mike Elko can do anything about. When those young men get out on that football field and see that atmosphere and see how alive that stadium is, and I know it benefits the Aggies being at home to some extent, but I don't think any of those players, no matter what game they've played in, are going to see anything like they're going to see on Saturday night. And I think it's a team that adjusts to that quicker is going to certainly have an edge.
Joe, you know, it reminds me of, for the Aggies, Notre Dame, all the young players who never, on Texas A&M, who were not in that atmosphere, right? Terry Bussey had never caught a punt at nights with 110,000. And that's not a shot at Terry. That was new for him. But A&M has been in 3 atmospheres that have been unbelievable just in this season. They're used to it. If you're Texas, this is another reason why you go play at Texas. You want to be in that. You want to be in an atmosphere like that. So I'm not quick to say, well, Texas hasn't played in an atmosphere like that. The closest they get is Dallas against Oklahoma. But even then, that's 50-50. This isn't going to be 50-50. But when you are a competitor and you're an athlete, but everything that Texas wants to do is keep the 12th man quiet. And everything the 12th man wants to do is rattle the Texas Longhorns. That's why I think it's just so fascinating. Again, this is why you play. This is why you choose the school you want to come to. I think A&M's been very good at home in these atmospheres, and that I don't think it's too much emotion because that can only carry you so long. I think they've played really well, and I think they've fed off the 12th man. But I think Texas is going to be just as excited. But I will say this, throughout this season, I don't even think Michigan was like this for Texas. Or closest would be like in the past years, having those games at Alabama, at Ohio State, at Michigan, in those iconic stadiums. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Alabama's not louder. Brian Denny's not louder than Kyle Field. Michigan has a chance, and Ohio State has a chance because of the sheer number of people. But for this year, where Texas has played, they're not going to have anything near the volume that they're going to face on Saturday.
That was Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. You can catch him right here Saturday, starting at 5:30, as the Aggies and Longhorns renew their rivalry right here on your home for Texas A&M football. It is brought to you by Ewald Kubota and the Angry Elephant. Guys, I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in, listening, however you may be joining. May you and your family have a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving, a safe and happy holiday weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to